Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for the delay. I was told that I was needed for the cherry picker. That's the only reason I was being called. But I'd like to thank the Minister for Women for her words and indeed the invitation. She has basically said it all. But I think one of the reasons why we are very keen on such initiatives undertaken by the Ministry of Women, because issues of gender empowerment, issues of corruption, issues of sustainable economy, issues pertaining to substantive justice, whether it's pertaining to children or the marginalized, are essentially apolitical issues. They should never be politicized. I think because the moment you politicize such issues, you will then obscure, you will then cover up the actual purpose for having such agendas. The empowerment of women, in this particular instance, the launch of today's Expo, is a critical issue that transcends any group, it transcends any political differences people may have, and indeed it must be seen that way. For too long in the world, of course, as you know, that most of the world is a very patriarchal society that we live in, whether it's in Fiji or whether it's in Africa, or whether indeed it's in Europe. There are many patriarchal notions within our systems that indeed need to be challenged and broken down and questioned and critiqued. But what we also need at the same time is, apart from the theory, we need to provide some very practical solutions as to how we should empower women. And that empowerment comes through very different means, whether it's providing a good set or framework pertaining to issues of domestic violence, whether it's to do with laws in protection of other property rights, for example, as we've recently done, where we've actually recognized that spousal maintenance is critical, even in de facto relationships where previously it was not recognized, and whether it is critical to empower women by giving them some commercial positioning within the market itself. It is very critical that this Expo does not simply mean a one day or a couple of days of a fair. Everybody feels good and somebody comes and buys a few dollars worth of goods from the store. But the whole point of this also is to connect them to the markets, is to ensure that there is a very substantial framework that is put in place, connecting the supplier with the market, ensuring that there is quality in the market. And I'm glad to say that stores like, for example, Tapu's, that have partnered with Ministry of Industry and Trade in the Buy Fijian campaign and made Fijian-made products, have actually got exclusive corners within their stores where these products are actually marketed. As we said a few years ago, it's very, very simple that if you have shells, necklace shells, if you have various handicraft made in Philippines or China and being passed off as Fijian products, it is not a good thing. You are not gaining the full dollar value from the tourism spend. But if you have authentic Fijian-made, Fijian-crafted handicrafts, for example, then you know that the dollar is actually staying in Fiji. Then you also know that the tourist does not mind paying a few dollars extra. It doesn't mean we rip them off. We don't mind paying a few dollars extra to buy authentic Fijian-made products. And I think that is very, very critical. Those of you who travel in Fiji Airways, you would have seen now that before you land in Fiji, you'll see a video that's shown now on every single flight. If it hasn't been shown in a flight, please let us know, because Fiji Airways is supposed to do that, where there's a promotional video that promotes Fijian handicrafted products. And it does show, Fijian women and men in that particular video, where they are making authentic handicraft. And I think this is the whole idea of this Expo, that we need to get that level of connectivity. We need these women to know that their skills, that their handicraft, that their traditional values that have been handed down through the artisan way of making products is not lost, that there is a demand for it, and that indeed it can become a lucrative business for them. So I'd like to congratulate the Minister and her team for this initiative, of course. Government is very much supportive of it. But I think overall there is still a lot of room for improvement. I was just listening to the list of sponsors. I'd like to thank the sponsors for their contribution. But I said at a gathering that When we talk about things like domestic violence, a lot of people think of it as a matter that's relegated to the private space and not perhaps relevant to business people. But it is very much related to business people. When you have the tourism industry that contributes about 33 to 35% of our GDP, and majority of the people who work in the hotels, who clean the rooms you sleep in, who clean the bathrooms, who wait on you at tables, and who are probably also cooking in the kitchens are women, and if they are being bashed up the night before at home, what do you think the level of productivity will be the next day? What do you think will happen to the rate of absenteeism? When you have the garment industry that now employs about 7,500 people, probably 95% of them are women, and if they're also facing a similar situation at home, then what do you think will be the level of productivity? So the issue of the thinking that things like women empowerment, that things like domestic violence, that children abuse, etc., is something not related to finance and commerce and productivity is completely false. The fact is it's very much related, part and parcel of our economy, part and parcel of our mainstream of society. We should all be concerned. Maybe, Minister, I should urge you to get sponsorship from the tourism sector and indeed the garment industry, but I don't see any garment factories actually supporting such an initiative. Some of these women may actually be ex-government employees and they need to contribute to that. So thank you for this, and I once again thank all the sponsors for your contribution, and we look forward to a very good Expo. Thank you.